Hello, I'm Amber again, and welcome back to week 24 of my pregnancy fitness video diaries. So just a really quick one today because it's Christmas Eve and we're already running a little bit late for heading off to go and see our family. But I'm 24 weeks today, and this video will just be very short because I wanted to talk to you about your choices that you have with regards to some of your prenatal checkups and the tests that you're asked to do. So at 24 weeks, I've just had an appointment with my community midwife just a couple of days ago, and was told that I need to book in a few weeks' time for my next lot of tests, which will include some blood tests, and the glucose challenge, which involves downing a bottle of Lucozade. And because it is December and I'm pregnant over the winter, I've also been advised to have a flu jab and a whooping cough jab. Now, this video might be potentially controversial, so what I want to stress is I'm not here telling you what you should or shouldn't do, but what I'm trying to stress here is that you do have a choice. So it's your body, it's your baby, and if you are not comfortable with any of the tests you're being asked to have, don't think that these are things you have to do. The system is done in such a way that they'll come in and say, yep, book in for this, book in for that, off you go. And if you're none the wiser and you think you need to do it, you'll just go along and do it. So it's entirely up to you. You might wish to have those things done. I personally do not wish to drink 300 millilitres of pure sugar. I've done everything I can to stay as healthy as possible in my pregnancy. Why on earth would I suddenly drink one of the most horrendously toxic, nasty substances that's going to go straight to my baby? It's beyond me why they ask you to do that. Well, actually, no. Just for the record, and to try and remain neutral, the reason you're asked to do it is precisely to see how your body metabolizes that massive hit of sugar. However, from my personal standpoint, I'm not overweight. Nobody in my family at all has diabetes type 1 or type 2, and I don't consume a lot of sugar. I'm not saying I never touch the stuff, but I don't consume a lot of it. So I really am not somebody who's likely to develop gestational diabetes. I'm having my urine checked, I'm watching what I eat, so if there are any likely issues, they would be picked up anyway. The other thing is a lot of people who, like myself, don't have a lot of sugar actually end up with a false positive when they do that test. So I could go and do that test and then it might come back saying, oh, actually, yeah, it looks like you could have, the onset of gestational diabetes, only to then discover it was a false positive. So from my point of view, I would not normally be drinking something as sugary as Lucozade. I really don't think it's good for me or the baby. So I'm not prepared to do it for the sake of a test when I know really, in my heart that I do not have gestational diabetes. So if you, like me, feel the same and think that's not really something I'm comfortable doing, then don't do it. In fact, when I asked a few of my fellow fitness professionals who've had babies whether they did the test, a lot of them replied to say that they hadn't even been asked to do it. And when I did some more research and asked my midwife directly, actually it's not a standardised test across the UK. It's only certain districts that ask you to do this. So right now, other women at the same stage of their pregnancy are not having to do this same challenge, as it's called. So honestly, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. There's no harm. If you think you might be at risk of diabetes because you have some of the precursors, maybe you're very overweight, maybe other people in your family suffer with diabetes, then fair enough, you might want to get yourself checked out. But the same with the flu jab. I have never had full-blown flu. I very rarely even get a cold. In fact, the worst illness really I've had has been during this pregnancy about 3 or 4 weeks ago, as you'll see from one of my videos then. So I personally just don't think it's worth getting that flu jab. The one time I had it must be 7 or 8 years ago when I was working in the city, I got given the flu jab because we were recommended it by our employer, and I got really quite ill. I got a head cold from having it. So to me, I don't want to have it. Now that will completely go against the grain for some people, and there will be healthcare professionals maybe watching this thinking that's ridiculous, but to me, I don't want to have it, so I'm not. So all I'm doing is I've got my bloods booked for 27 weeks and then the follow-up with the midwife for 28 weeks, and that's entirely fine and no questions asked. So it just goes to show these are not important things you have to do. all the way through your pregnancy, you have choice. So to reiterate, I'm not telling you you shouldn't do it. It's my personal belief, especially with the glucose challenge, that Lucozade is not a substance you want to be putting in your body, but it's entirely up to you. It's a one-off. So if you want to have the test, a one-off is not going to ruin you, but to me it's just nonsensical. But the bottom line is you have choice, and that doesn't just go for glucose challenge and flu jabs. It goes through all the tests and all the choices around your pregnancy. So just for the people who maybe are, if you're a first-time mother, and like myself, obviously I have an advantage because I've worked within this field for 6 years, so I'm a bit more knowledgeable around it than maybe the average first-time mum. But I just want you to know that you do have a choice, and if you're unsure about anything, ask questions to your midwife, ask friends, do some research. Don't be afraid to say no thanks. Okay, so yeah, you enjoy your choices, and I'm off to enjoy Christmas with my family, and I will see you at 25 weeks just before 2015 hits. So take care, Merry Christmas, not that it will probably apply when you're watching it, but I feel like I should say it anyway, and take care, bye bye.